What it do, YouTube? It's your boy, Pharaoh, World Class Hustler, back with another upload. Sorry it's been a little minute. You know, I've been out here grinding, had to do some other things, paperwork, and been getting to deal with my crypto thing, which is going to segue further in my video. But, let's get on to it, man. This video right here, I know I'm a little bit behind the 8 ball. I was supposed to do it around the time that it happened. But, it's about, I'll call it the streets versus the corporation. This is what I'm going to call it. The streets versus the corporation. What I mean by that, the streets, is that a week ago, you had the stock market change forever. When you have an incident like you had back on the 26th, I believe that was what it was, the 26th or the 20th of January, or what happened, it makes you start to think how things are set up in America. And for those who don't know what I'm talking about, GameStop pretty much got wrecked, and pretty much the retail investors, which is us, because we're not corporate and we're not part of the 1% or we're not hedge funds, ended up getting a giant W. And what this shows is that the little guys are planning on their come up and actually are not sitting there. They're not going down without a fight. This is what this is. This is a financial protest against the corporations. So what happened was that GameStop was a dying company. They're pretty much going to be going out of business. They're going to be filing bankruptcy soon. So I don't know if anybody pays attention to the stock market, but the stock for GameStop was damn near, I think, like $7, something like that. And my thing is that GameStop, you know, their business protocol is just trash. They haven't adapted to the times. They haven't really came out with any new marketing, any new type of innovation, to segue in this next industrial complex that we enter into. And remember what I've said, if you do not adapt with the times, you will be forgotten and perish about it. And so, what happened is that you had individuals on Reddit, which is Wall Street Bets, and what ended up happening was that there's a guy who pretty much led the charge by the name of Keith Gill. He was on it, man. He sat right there and took their quarterly to quarterly earnings. He looked at the hedge funds that was the entity hedge funds that the investors that they was dealing with. He was looking at their numbers of the annual sales, all the whole 9 yards. And this was very calculated and very strategic, and it was on point. So what he did was he got a group of, small-time investors, because shout out to Wall Street Trapper, he actually added up the total money that they needed to buy all those stocks from GameStop, and pretty much he got over, I think, like over 1 million people, because it's like 8-point-something million people that was in that group, that community of Wall Street Bets, and all they had to have was $5,000. And Gill put in about $53,000. So if you add all that up, that literally, if you times all that, that literally lands you about $1 billion, 1.5 billion, right around that range. And you know, even though it was a little bit more, I think there were some other people that joined the financial protest. You even got some people that came in from a hedge fund who were employees that came in and was dipping money into there. And this is how it works too, for those who doesn't know. They were shorting the stock. And pretty much this is what also exposed the market, the stock market, because it exposed that a lot of your hedge funds manipulate the prices. They manipulate the stock prices. And they've been doing it for God knows how long. Shoot, them motherfuckers ain't no better than Bernie Madoff, man. So, what they do is, let's do an example. Let's say I had $600 and I want you, I'm trying to get some baseball cards, and I give you $600, a friend, and I give it to you, and I say, hey, I'm gonna give you your cards back, and pretty much I'm gonna give you your cards back because you end up borrowing that $6. Then I'll give you your card back the following week. So let's say if you borrowed it Friday and you say you're gonna your friend front you $600 for the baseball cards, and you end up going to a dealer and the baseball cards are priced, and you know its value at $600. Well, you come back, and during that time, the price you were expecting, and the reason why you do it is you expect the price to drop. So day 1, day 2 pass by, it drops like $50. Day 3, day 4, day 5. Friday comes along. The baseball cards drop $200. They are only worth $400. You go back to get those same baseball cards and buy them. Now remember, the dealer paid you $600 for those baseball cards that you borrowed from your homie. So you end up buying it for $400 because that's what it's worth now. You end up going back to your friend, give him back his cards. Not only that, you give him money for his troubles, which was trouble because you gave the money back on time. But just as an interest, you give him about $40 for it, and you say, "Hey, appreciate that, bro." Now, if you listen to what I said, the baseball at first was $600. The price fell to $400. Guess what? That motherfucker came up with a $200 profit because the cards and the stock of it and the demand for it dropped. And he gave his homie back $40. Guess what? That was a $160 profit that you took home. That example that I just said is just similar to the stock market. They borrow money pretty much from corporations. They end up, you know, the same process just I just said with the baseball cards. And so that's what ended up happening. That's how price manipulation, that's what hedge funds, that's what they devil ass do. They bet on the stock to fall, and the reason why that they do that is because GameStop is a dying company. But if you look at it closely, GameStop also had the highest interest rate of short sales. They had damn near 140%. And what you know, common sense would tell you, at 140%, if you very experienced in finance, in the stock market game, you do not short sale at fucking 140%. You don't do that, because you will mess around and you will lose out on a lot of money at the end. And I'm about to tell you why. Because hedge funds got caught with their goddamn pants down and their hands in the motherfucking cookie jar. When Redditors came and they bought all those stocks, guess what? The price of it went up. So instead of GameStop stock dying, and hedge funds was trying to squeeze a little, because it's called short squeeze, they were squeezing out the money for profit, even though they could have set it at an actual price, because pretty much the stock was actually undervalued for what GameStop was. Yes, it was a dying company and a dying company was about to go bankrupt, but for what it was worth, and when you look at the sales and people in the demand that people still wanted to get hard copy games instead of downloading digitally, that's where everything is headed to, GameStop was still quite valuable. So the stock was actually undervalued, and Keith Gill knew this. So what he did was, the more people bought the stocks, guess what? The price went up. So now the hedge funds are like, oh snap, we was expecting for it to drop. Damn, we ain't got the money, because when the prices go up, you have to have the funds to cover that stock. And guess what? They didn't. And guess what? A lot of the hedge funds ended up having to file for bankrupt and go out of business. They lost $70 billion. $70 billion. If that's not a healthy win for the retail investors, motherfucker, I don't know what is. Man, this was carefully, precisely, strategically planned, and it was on point. And I have to say, shout out to the individuals on Redditor who was back behind Keith Gill, man. This will be talked about for ages. This will be talked about in financial classes. This will be talked about in business class, man. Because what that just showed you was that your stock market has been compromised. And then Robinhood, because trust me, I took all my money from Robinhood. Instead of putting out a lawsuit, because I was hearing that they was throwing them out, the case is out, I just sat right there and I sold my stock, and I pretty much just cleaned it out. So I'm still waiting for some more money to come into my account, and then I'm just going to deactivate the account. Because what Robinhood did was shady. They sat right there after it happened, because it was more short sales. It was other companies that was undervalued, like AMC and Nokia. And hedge funds knew this, and they went ahead and just canceled all those stocks, because they was finna do it again. As a matter of fact, I was going to join into it. I was like, hey, I got 5 racks. Shit, I'll go ahead and I'll sacrifice that money to get a quick come up. Because if you looked at it, that motherfucking last stimulus check was a slap in the face. $600, man, that's a spat in the face, man. So people had enough of it. So, and they knew it, and they got caught, and they was like, nah, we gotta cancel these stocks before they sat right here and pump and dump this shit, because that's what it is. You pump up the stock and you dump it and you take the money. Keith Gill, like I said, put in $53,000. Guess how much he ended up flipping that? $48 million. $48 million. Everybody else who had $5,000, guess how they ended up? They ended up becoming $22 million. They ended up, people who became pretty much overnight multi-millionaires. Just like that. And I was so shady about it. And that's why I've always said, man, I've always thought about it. I said, man, the stock market was really nothing but a fiddle club for the elite to play with the general populace money. That's all that shit was. See, before Robinhood, people didn't get into stock like that, because people thought it was for like the high class, the upper class. Because that's what it was originally pandering and who it was for. Until Robinhood came in and it made it more feasible. It made it more elementary too. Because you knew how the dips, how to moon, which means the stock going up. That's the terminology for mooning. So, you know, Robinhood made it feasible. But they ended up becoming, they pretty much are biased, man. And shout out to Neil, guy on YouTube named Neil McElroy Ward. He's always said that he always been against Robinhood because one thing that he looks at, this guy is from the UK, he said the one thing that he looks at is how the company's getting their money. And I looked at it, I was like, well, damn, Robinhood, you don't pay a subscription annually nor every month. Only time when you're paying for something is if you get that Robinhood Gold, but that comes with a lot of incentives that features in the app, but not a lot of people pay for it, so they pay is free. End up coming finding out the hedge funds, they are cahoots with a lot of the hedge fund capitalist investor companies. And I was like, and that explains why they sat right there, canceled the stock, froze everybody's account. Even if you had no knowledge on what was going on, your account still got frozen. They still sat right there and said, hey, this is only so many stocks that you can buy. Pretty much violating all the SEC regulations. Just sat right here and just violated. So now the SEC is going to have to investigate, well, they are investigating them now. They're going to have to, because there were a lot of regulations, a lot of stuff that was broken, man. A bunch of laws that was fucking broken. You can't sit over here and just freeze people's accounts and stop them from buying. But guess what? How they look at it is like, how dare you sit over here and think you can make all this money? You ain't privileged. And that's what it showed a lot of people, that they don't want you making this money. They don't want everyday Americans to get in on the wealth. Because look at this, man. This is a pandemic. We just witnessed the biggest wealth transfer in history. A lot of people getting laid off and more people getting rich as hell. Freaking Jeff Bezos done capped over $70 billion over the summer last year. If that's not the biggest wealth transfer that you've ever seen, I don't know what is, man. So, yes, this was a financial protest. And this is why I said it's the street. Now it opens people's eyes. And as a matter of fact, a lot of people start going towards cryptocurrency, which now is because corporations don't like that word decentralization. See, decentralization meaning that it can't be controlled and it can't be traced. And that's why I like about it. You are your own bank. You control your own finance. And my thing is that, and even a lot of corporations and a lot of hedge funds, they're going into crypto because that is the future. Because your dollar is not going to be worth shit in the next couple of years, and people not going to be taking paper money like that. So everything is going to digital currency. So, because right now, I'm already $1,000 with Dogecoin. I got thousands of VeChain. I got some 88 Cardano, which that's gonna be booming. Cardano, that shit, and shout out to BitBoy from he's the cryptocurrency channel. That shit, Cardano is gonna hit probably about $2 by the end of this month. And I project, and I do see that it could possibly be $9 by the time before June hits. And it possibly, who knows, it could probably be $500 and something towards the end of the year. Cardano has on the blockchain, everything's back behind it. And shout out to BitBoy, who sat right there and interviewed Steve Hawkinson, who was the creator of 88 Cardano. So people were running towards that because people know that the stock market has been compromised. people know the game now, and it's an unfair game. The game was not meant for retail investors. It never was, never has been. That game for retail, that game, that stock market game, has been rigged, and it's been for the elites. That's what hedge funds do. They sit over here and take corporations, Fortune 500 companies, their money when they choose to hire these hedge funds, and they circulate it to get more money. That's what they do. So when I say these hedge funds are not even for you, hell, you can't even walk up in a hedge fund and get an account. It's certain type of money that you have to even get an account. Some of them, you can't even go until you vouch for it. You got to have a reference to even get an account with them. And I think for a lot of hedge funds, you got to have $1 million to start with to put your money into them. And the general populace ain't got $1 million. Hell, 80% of America don't even have $1,000 in their bank account. And it's going to be depleting soon because of COVID. It's just this whole thing with the pandemic and more people getting laid off. You just had Janet Yellen just say 1.3 million more people just filed for unemployment. So you really, yeah, the streets are going to have to fight back against the corporation. And this situation with GameStop initiated the fire. It's literally flames of fire right now, because now the American people are saying, oh yeah, we know what we need to do now. Now, most people are still going to be dumbfounded. They're going to get left behind. But for the people who really know what happened, oh, yeah, they're going to be all on board, man. And this ain't going to be the first. This not going to be the last attack. This is not going to be the last. For what I'm saying, they're trying to pump up Bitcoin. Well, Bitcoin getting pumped itself because Bitcoin is at 37,000. Ethereum is doing numbers, man. We watched Ethereum from 500 in a couple months. Now it's at 17, finna hit 1,800. Ethereum is going to be like 3 stacks by the end of February. Best believe that. And it's going to be probably about 5 racks before the summer hits. So, man, Ethereum is up there. So, and you know, when Bitcoin, Ethereum do well, all the other altcoins like Dogecoin, I don't know, I kept saying Dogecoin, I'm guilty of it, but people who don't know how to pronounce it, it's called Dogecoin, which was meant to be a meme coin when it first started. But Elon Musk, and shout out to him, because he was actually down with this financial protest, because Wall Street screwed him over before anyway. I'll do a history about him sometime in the future, about the rise of Elon Musk, because he's the leading technocrat and the lead in charge of the fourth industrial complex. So, this is a good thing. This is definitely a good thing, man. And I'm definitely happy that this happened. They said silver, they're gonna try to pump up silver, but it's so much silver out there that you're gonna have to require more people to try to pump it up. But hey, anything can happen. This shit just showed that everything can happen, man. So it's the streets, yeah. It's blood in these streets, man. It's official. It's the streets versus the corporation. People are going to crypto. They taking matters to their own hands. People are going to become their own bank. The banking system ain't shit. Matter of fact, pretty soon I'm probably going to take all my money out of Chase, depending on, because I'm here with Navy Federal Union. Navy Federal. If you cut a check, and shout out to Erica Shanta Williams, she told me this. If you send in a check for $3,000, you don't even get your whole check. You can only get out $225 freaking dollars. And something told me that I was going to aim towards Navy Federal because my cousin has it, but something told me something was weary about them. So now it's called, they try to police capitalization on your money. See, I've always told people, man, they always trying to police and try to police your money. Your government is your biggest pocket watchers, man. And I don't like that. And that's why I can't really fuck with Coinbase on the crypto side, because they report to the IRS. A lot of people don't know that. Yes, Coinbase reports to the IRS. When your ass, I think if you got over $20,000 of transaction, they will send that shit to Uncle Sam. And you will get a letter in a mail saying that, hey, we see that you made this type of transaction, had these transactions. We need you to pay this percentage right here, homie. And you be like, God damn, how did, hey, Coinbase is the feds, bro. So, shout out to the people from Reddit, man. Salute to them, man. Shout out to Keith Gill, who led the charge in that for Wall Street Bets. Shout out to Glenn and Cameron, because now you're going to have to become a corporate citizen. You're going to have to start an LLC to eat out here. I'm sorry, people. I know a lot of people can't become chiefs, and there's not enough Indians. A lot of people can't become business owners, but hey, for you to get it out the mud out here, you're going to have to start you an LLC. Anything that you're good at, you need to start an LLC, man. And just get on the train, man. It's best to get in the LLC too, because especially with these taxes out here, and you know who our current administrator are, they're going to try to tax the fuck out of you. So my thing is, you might as well become a business owner and try to get some of these write-offs so you ain't got to pay shit. Real shit. That's my video for today, man. Thank y'all for rocking with me, and y'all be safe out there. One.